Hey, everybody. I am so grateful that I get to be with one of my absolute favorite human beings, Larisa Stow. And we've been doing a little bit of work together recently, and the subject came up about people polarizing about different things, and especially about the whole vaccination issue. Larisa, what has been your experience and maybe even your pain and what you've observed with our global family and our friends?
Well, what's been really challenging for me is experiencing really loving, kind beings, having such how do I say this? I always try to say this in a nice way because I'm like, because I
Hostility,
don't want to even, I don't want
polarization.
to judge the judge. Like, I don't want to polarize within myself here. Um, when I experience a lot of judgment, of others, and I'm going to go straight to it. I'm going to go like straight in, which is almost like a dehumanization is what I experience. And this is from both sides, from both camps. um I don't know why I was made this way, but I have, ever since I was a child, I've had this ability to be able to kind of see like a full picture. um and be able to put myself in other people's shoes really easily. So, regardless if I feel really strongly about something, it's very easy for me to put myself and see in another person's shoes and perceive. And what I think is really missing in this time is our how we've attached ourselves so firmly beliefs, and believing that what we're seeing and what we're perceiving is like the way, and the other side is um not smart, they're ignorant, they're uncaring, they're selfish. um a lot of labels that doesn't take the whole person, and perhaps even how they got there into thinking. And I'm not just talking about information, I'm talking what's underneath of why people choose the way they choose to perceive to begin with. Because we obviously have our ideas and our opinions about what is truth and what isn't truth out there, but what's underneath that is what brings people to certain a predisposition to perceive a certain way. I think there's a lot of misunderstanding, a lot of projection that's happening right now, and it's very concerning to me because of this piece of dehumanization.
Yeah.
Where it becomes way too easy to project our fears onto others, and to have a certain opinion of others, and to, through those opinions, to see them less than,
hmm
to see them less than yourself or others that think the way that you think.
I'm so appreciating you saying that. And it reminds me of one of the things I learned from Marshall Rosenberg, which was never to make an enemy image out of another human being. And the moment we go beyond the different belief system and think to myself, you're so stupid. You're such an idiot. He's such a jerk. The moment we go beyond the difference of opinion and make the other person wrong or an enemy, and like you've said a couple times, and those are powerful words, dehumanizing,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
And let's all, we want peace in the world. Let's stop that.
Yes.
Stop, like eliminate from your vocabulary asshole, idiot, stupid,
Yes.
bitch. Just
Yes.
eliminate those words, because the moment we go there, we are dehumanizing another human being, and we're committing an act of violence, and we're not creating the planet of peace, the new paradigm that I think almost all of our friends say that they want to be a part of.
that that is it. I mean, it if you really drop in you really, really drop into your body, if you really drop into what is real in this moment of what you really value, what really matters most to you, I would say that a majority of us actually share such incredibly their common values amongst us all. I would say amongst the majority. And yet, if you look at the majority is split, when it comes
Yeah.
to how they're perceiving and what they're believing about, if the vaccine, is something that you should do and you must run out and do it right now to protect everybody that you love, or that you think that the vaccine, that there's all this other stuff going on and that it's not safe and here's all the reasons why. Like, beyond that, like, beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there's a field and I'll meet you there. And if you drop in, that's where we need to meet, is in those places of like what really matters most to us. Because I do think that a lot of it comes down to safety. That,
Absolutely.
and I think that's why we tend to project all these huge fears and start to dehumanize one another, is because there's so much fear there of
Hmm.
a lack of safety,
Hmm.
not feeling safe, and it once you like tap into where people feel unsafe, that's where people start really lashing out. And I see that you could look at both sides and that safety is an issue on both sides of that
Exactly.
conversation, right? Depending.
Exactly. I feel safe because I'm vaccinated. I don't feel like the vaccine is safe, right?
Right.
So there it is. And so the commonality is, hey, we both have a strong value for safety,
Yes.
and we probably both have a strong value for being healthy and
Yes.
protecting our health. Again, safety,
Yes.
protecting our health. We both want the same thing. We just have different beliefs about how to do that.
Yes.
You
That's
know,
that's it.
Marshall Rosenberg uh, told a wonderful story. Oh my gosh. In fact, John Kinyon, who's going to be on the show, who's probably watching this because I'm going to be playing this video,
Yes.
I'm going to go to his story because he went to Afghanistan where they worked with two different warlords, helping them to create peace. And what finally brought them together was this incredible understanding that they had the same values. They wanted the same thing. They wanted safety for their families, safety for their tribe. They wanted the same things. They just, and they realized that they could get it by collaborating. So I'm going to ask John to tell that story. Um,
That's awesome.
but there it is. It's like, hey, can we just agree? Hey, I really respect you want to be safe and healthy just like I do. And we have had different indoctrinations of belief. We are hearing different things than, and again, somebody's choosing, I like the color blue and I like the color red. I choose the Democratic approach and I choose the Republican approach. I choose the vaccination approach. I'm choosing not to vaccinate. And we all have a right to our choice. And if we can just respect that underneath it, we actually want the same thing. We're just getting there in different ways.
That that is what I would love. I would love for people to see that, even if you completely disagree. Like, you can totally disagree, and that is your right. You can think that the other side hasn't done the kind of research that you've done, or they're looking in the wrong places, because that seems to be a common denominator, right? In conversation, well, they're not looking in the right place, where they're not looking in the right place. Well, this is, and you see it, the memes around it, and there's such strong beliefs. But if we can really see underneath all that, which is the values,
Yeah.
right? I think we're not going to find our
Ah,
so right. We're not going to find ourselves in such a place of a violent um, expression, not only on the outside but on the inside of ourselves.
yeah.
Because when we start to think these thoughts about other people, what does it do to our own health and our own well-being? What does it do to our families? How does that show up in how we treat each other?
Mm.
And our vibration. How does that show up in our vibrational frequency of how are we really being ourselves? Am I really my true self? Am I really my authentic self if I'm in judgment all the time? Um, what happens? What happens to Larisa? What happens to my internal terrain if I'm in a state of judgment?
But it's funny, you're dehumanizing yourself then. In other words, when we do that, we are now going beyond our true values because almost all of us have our true value of wanting to be unconditionally loving and
Yeah.
wanting to really see the divinity in all. I think that when we're in our most centered place, non-egoic, but soul-centered place, we all just want to love and honor and respect each other and be loved and honored and respected. So when we choose a belief system over compassionate understanding, we're dehumanizing both ourself as well as the other person.
Yes. That
Would
that
you
that's
would you
it.
be willing to lead a meditation to just help us to kind of drop in and well, you'll go wherever you go, so I won't even tell you where to go. But would you be willing to do that for us?
I would love to do that. I would be very, very happy. I think I could use a meditation
Me too.
right now. um, I would first invite you to drop into your body. I'm just going to try to get as comfortable as I can in this chair in this location.
Yeah.
Um, and to bring what I love to do, and I invite you to do this, although you can do it differently if you feel more comfortable holding your hands differently. But I love to bring my left and my right hands into a Gyan Mudra. And I love to bring my left hand underneath my heart center. So you can see that it's like this, right? If you could see my heart, it's like right here. And then my right hand is up. And as I inhale, like inhale is the breath of receiving and the breath of gratitude. When we're grateful, we receive. We begin to receive again when we're grateful, when we're in a state of love and seeing the highest in what's around us. So on the inhale, I invite you to breathe in what you love, what you're grateful for in your life. So, what drops you into your heart, be it your animals, your dogs that love you unconditionally, be it your beloved, your children, your lover, just feeling into nature, what that is, that just has you drop into the deepest gratitude. Like thank you, life. Thank life for. And then on that exhale, breathing out that love. So it becomes this beautiful feedback loop of I receive, I'm grateful for, and I love and I give of this love that I am filling myself with. And you can do this outside. You can look at nature. You can close your eyes, rolling your eyes to the third eye point. Breathing in love and breathing out love. Just filling yourself up with that love and that gratitude. And as you're feeling this level of gratitude and love, I invite you to think of someone in your life where you may have had some challenges in your communication with them around this, around these issues of beliefs, differing beliefs. And I invite you to feel into that person's heart, like what you actually do love about them, what you actually see as really beautiful about that person, where you've enjoyed your experiences and your time with them, where you really can feel their heart and their soul and the ways that they've touched you. And focus on that right now, breathing in gratitude for those times you've spent together that have filled you up, that have nurtured your spirit. And breathing out love, breathing that love to them, letting them know that even though you have these differences of opinion, you still can really feel them and love them and are so grateful for them. And notice how that feels. Notice how that shifts your awareness. Maybe even how you show up in your next conversation. And so it is.
That was beautiful. Thank you. As I was thinking about my friends that have different beliefs, your words and your spirit just invited me to be curious. I was, oh yeah, just I love when we're curious with each other. It feels so lovely to be curious with each other. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How do you see it? Why do you see it that way? So thank you. That's what that triggered for me, among other things, just the calm and thank you.
You're welcome. That reminds me too. It's like, oh, this is what it means to be unconditionally loving, to learn how to love unconditionally. If we don't have these opportunities of seeing things differently, perceiving, believing differently from people that we care about, if we don't have that opportunity, we never get to fully experience what it means to show up in unconditional love,
Yeah.
to
Mhm.
love without conditions. Like, I love you, I don't agree with you, but I love you. And just because I disagree, it's not cutting off my heart. It's not shutting my heart down.
Yeah.
In fact, if anything, I have friends that we have different beliefs, and around this whole conversation. And what's fun for me is that we do share, like, one of my besties, she shares with me, and then I share back with her, and then she shares with me, and I share back with her, and then we talk about it, and we still see differently, even though we're sharing, and we don't get mad at each other. Like, we've had our moments that have gotten a little like, we really want the other to see what we're seeing and how we're perceiving it. And the truth is, when we really become allowed ourselves to be more curious, like you said, and to be in a receptive place with one another, we actually have strayed in new ways, because we are really open in our love. It's like, okay, well, let me try that on. It gives us,
Yeah.
it gives us more space to try things on. Whereas righteousness, if somebody is just in their righteousness, I don't know about you, but that shuts me down really quick. If
It's
somebody
not,
is,
it is not attractive. It is not attractive. And what came to my mind as you were talking too about that, when you're in that beautiful exchange with your friend, is what stops us from that is obviously the attachment to being right. And how important is it for us to be right? And is it more important to be right than to create peace in our world? Right? So, I mean, there's that famous thing, would you rather be right or would you rather be happy? Right? Would you rather be right or
Yes.
would you rather have peace in the world? And, with bringing it specifically to the vaccine thing, I've been saying since the pandemic began, for myself, I have no idea what the truth is. Absolutely no idea. Maybe what the anti-vaxxers are saying is completely true or completely not. We really don't know for sure. We don't know how our bodies are going to respond. We don't know if herd immunity is going to happen. We don't know how many waves there are going to be. We don't know what the long-term impact is going to be. We have different ideas, different possibilities. We have what we read, but nobody really knows for sure, right? So if we can all take hands in this collective unknowing and like, wow, I think this, I think that, that's where that back and forth
Yeah.
curiosity and exchange, like you were describing, is powerful. But let's all just take hands and walk through the forest together and see what's on the other side. Because we don't know what's on the other side of the forest yet. You're Lewis and I'm Clark.
That's
Whoops,
what it
somebody's
feels like.
coming in here and
Sorry.
um uh does recording in this room. Well, there you go. You never know what's on the other side of the forest. Doug was on the other side of the forest.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I really appreciate you so much. And
And I
a
appreciate
reminder,
Scott.
tell us about, yeah, it's fun collaborating. I'm really enjoying it. Larisa's Shakti Love Warriors. I'm going to put this focus on you for a moment. Tell us a little bit about that.
It is a wonderful group on Facebook that since the pandemic has really shifted. It was a space, originally it was a space where, I would say, Shakti tribes, musical fans, it started out as that space. But when the pandemic happened, I got online and I had a download like from the get go from Spirit. And it was a very long, like, it was something that was really clear for me at the time. And I had shared it with some people and I was encouraged to get online and to share it with the community online. And I hadn't done anything like that at this point, and as much as I'm out in the world, singing, I'm still very shy privately for whatever reason, it's just who I am. And so I was like, but I was encouraged to get out there and share it. One of my clients actually was like, come on, Larisa, this is at the edge of your comfort zone. And I'm like, it's one of my own clients. Like she's like, I dare you, as I dare my people to do things. I'm like, okay. So I put myself out there and I shared that download. It was like right around, I think it was March, St. Patrick's Day. It was right around St. Patrick's Day, like March 17th or so. And as I was doing that, sharing it at the very end, I blurted out without even thinking. It wasn't a thought. I blurted out, and I will be here every day through the pandemic. We will do these meditations, and 11:11 to really ground and anchor this love in the world. And I don't know what happened to me. It just blurted, and I was like, what did I just say? How did that happen? How did that just kind of come out of my mouth so quickly? And I'm like, after, I stopped the broadcast, I'm like, I don't even know what came over me. I don't know why I said that. Oh my God, now I'm going to have to do it. And so I did. I like showed up and I was never expecting it to last this long, but I really wanted to be my word since it felt like it was a Felt like it was a poke from spirit. Honestly, it felt like spirit was popping out of my mouth. Rather, it didn't feel like it was totally Larisa singing
I
it.
totally know that feeling. I get it. We've shared stories about that actually. Yeah. I am going to the Facebook page. So it's just you go to Facebook and it's Larisa's Shakti Love Warriors group. Every day at 11 a.m., kind of people gather, and then 11:11 really dropping into meditation. And it's a
Yeah,
beautiful, beautiful thing. And of course, some of you might, I'm sure a lot of you probably were with us last Monday when we saw Richard Chisholm out of his body, actually guided him with Louisa and everybody praying and singing as he slipped off into the next world. So beautiful thing that you're doing here. So everybody on Facebook, go to Larisa Shakti Love Warriors group, join. And Larisa, thank you so much for taking some time to be with us and finding a spot while you're on vacation in Monterey to come be in with us. Um,
my
uh,
pleasure, Scott. I think it's an important conversation. I think it's one that to have ongoingly. Um, I think
and
it's pretty much the most important conversation as a society that we can have right now because as we know, the more we polarize, the harder it's going to be. It's as Leonard Cohen says, you want it darker. You know that song?
no, I don't.
Oh,
It
it's like
reminds me though, I've said to people, never say the words, it couldn't get worse. There's nothing that gets God's attention faster than, well, what did he just say? It couldn't get worse? Yo, right?
yes,
Yeah, I mean,
yes,
the truth is we're blessed. We are incredibly blessed. And yes, we're going through challenging times. And yes, it's hard. We have compassion for the hard, but we also have so much to be grateful for. And
yes.
I am grateful for you, my friend.
And I am grateful for you. Thank you, Hun, for having me and
Absolutely.
opening up this conversation today.
Yep. Looking forward to our next one.
Me